ought to listen to one key person. Now, to me, Mao Zedong, right, of course, the Chinese national, I got to be very careful. Very, very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. Mao Zedong, to me, is the greatest strategist in Chinese history. Better than Zhuge Liang, better than Cao Cao, better than any. Maybe lose to Wu Zetian, maybe. Because Wu Zetian is a woman. Right? Mao Zedong had one advantage. Right? He's a male. Right? What did Mao Zedong say? Right? Very important thing is that, right, according to his biography, I have 10 of Mao Zedong's biography, right? But the Chinese version I haven't read yet, the latest one. Right? He says this very interestingly. After he fought all the wars, then he started to write. Then someone showed you Sun Tzu, and he read it. And he made this remark, which is very interesting. He says that, right, Sun Tzu thinks like me. You follow it.
The road was torturous, yet bitter sacrifice strengthens bold resolve. The Red Army, said Mao, fears not the trials of the long march. The enemy advances, we retreat. The enemy camps, we harass. The enemy tires, we attack. The enemy retreats, we pursue.
Realize in reading Sun Tzu being founded is a thinking process that's important. Not this how to, you see, what business school teachers, we give you a model, you apply this model, 5 forces, you analyze that, it becomes economist game. Why? Because those who wrote the text were economists. They are not war generals, they don't have to fight, they don't have to compete, they don't have to apply tactics, the frame of approach is different. Right? So, if Mao says that on Read Out of War that he thinks like me, then I think it's useful because, I mean, you know, the Chinese, you're fighting against the Chinese competing. Very hard to control the Chinese. I don't know, it's difficult for people to control. I mean, and why I respect Mao? Right, because I think he achieved what very few people achieve. You see, when you're fit and tall, I mean, no problem, you can still hold control and power. And sometimes even very fit and tall, you also lose power, you know. Mao Zedong reached the stage where he couldn't talk, huh? He stopped. And nobody there made a foreign policy decision without consulting. So they got to use the nurse. The nurse got to see his lips. Then they whisper in his ears. And then they see how the tongue moves. Yes or no. I mean, that kind of power is absolutely powerful. Then we got. So, you know, right. Out of war. Okay, now. What I'm going to tell you is, now, what is the nature of out of war? First of all, it is very broad in scope. And I'll refer after this. I don't just say this here, and you know, I will refer you to an article I wrote for Bangkok Post, and I mentioned Michael Porter. I tell you, and why I attack Michael Porter. Okay, I don't just do it quietly, I do it in the paper. So far, I haven't got a reply from Michael Porter on that. All right. Very few. You see, what you want to study? You're a busy person. You're not like a scholar. I buy books, I read, and you don't have time for it. You want is something practical you can use. You can hang on before you go for the next meeting better. You know, and this world, especially, they're too busy. You got all sorts of nonsense coming in, information flows. So your mind, but yet when you go for making a decision, you got to be sharp. You got to have what I call tuning of your mind. You know, radio frequency. You got to fine tune so you get to think properly. When you take a leave and see a competitor upstairs, you see a customer on the leave, you go, these are key principles I got. Right. This I think is very important. Right? And you want a tech that's broad. So otherwise it's very broad in scope, and yet it's very deep in thinking. The Chinese naval submariners, in the submarine warfare, they quote out of war. In the design of the submarine, also the submarine should be designed, they actually quote out of war, right? And then you find that, okay, timeless metaphors in out of war. Okay. Now let me explain this to you. This is where I tell you why out of war is not just any out of war, right? Firstly, right, when you read out of war in the Yan Wen, right, Gu Wen, you find that he mentioned Gu before he writes those sentences. Meaning to say, this actually I quote, is like for you to make a literature reference. Right? In old days they don't quote, because at that time they use bamboo to carve, right? And he says, school, 500 years ago, this is a wisdom. And he put it down, right? Then, yeah, he himself say, right? And of course from now it's 2,500 years already. You follow? So the overall work is a work of deep wisdom of 5,000 years. Right? Then it is more a tool for himself, not really meant, right? See, as I said, the Chinese prize knowledge above, and that time of course there is no printing press, but I don't think he would have, even the printing press, just like when my book Reminiscences of Ancient Strategist was published, the publisher asked me, hey, why don't you explain all this 80 over diagram, they're very interesting, surreal work and all that. I told the publisher, I'm Chinese. I don't want to review everything. So this part of the 80 pictures they want to learn, they come to workshop, I teach them. The final points, right? So that's must keep some, And then it's a secret treasure, right? To be given as gift. Now, how precious are all this? Then another text that you ought to study is Sun Tzu 36 Stratagem. Even briefer than other words. It's only 100 Chinese characters, plus and minus. The guy who gave this, the Tang Emperor, was made the Prime Minister. Because that work is so, it's just Chinese like strategy, the stratagem, Mo Gong. And this Sun Tzu was the one during Tang Dynasty that gave the Emperor the stratagem to succeed. Now, then of course, and then I'll explain to you later on what are limitations of the war. When is it not useful? When is it useful, right? Then it's not for money, right? And then it's carved from bamboo. Okay. And of course, you'll find that there is, of course, eating philosophy in it. Eating is a word which I don't know. I bought a lot of books, but I can never understand it. Right? I really, that one you need to really get somebody expert to explain it. Eating is 很妙, 中文王, right, okay, now this is what I want to show you. Right? Bangkok Post, August 9, 2001, what Michael Porter might have told us. So written by me. A bit of Sun Tzu could help Thailand as well. Okay, the furrow over the invitation of Michael Porter to help Thailand has carried over to my classroom. I promptly opened an e-forum asking would Thailand benefit from Porter's concepts, and it's so how. The class watched Mr. Porter's superb Harvard lectures on video. Students learned why rivalry can be broken down into Porter's forces, buyers, sellers, opportunity, and new entrants. The experience triggered further thoughts on my part. Now, unlike many American gurus, Mr. Porter is not just a part of a fact. He is a deadly serious, committed, and helpful academic. Many years ago, I saw him invite on the syllabus for strategy management as my news of introducing MBA program. So I was part of the process of launching the program in my university. Right? His reply was prompt, and I was grateful. The grounding for his theory runs deep, resting on powerful empirical evidence. That alone did not secure immense quality of his work he enjoyed. He has given words, eloquently yet simply explain complex matters. That one, if you want, you request me, so I'll give you the full article. What did I criticize him? All right? I criticize him that really the essence of Porter's approach is on better grounds. And other work covered that in one chapter on grounds, classification of grounds. Right? Other work covers a far wider range of concerns than competitive strategy, although it's far briefer than competitive strategy, competitive advantage, and all that. Now, this is a public domain, right? So it's a national newspaper. So what I'm saying is that if you're a practitioner guy, right, he wants some tools. He wants some tools that people in many endeavors find useful, apply for sharpening your strategic thinking. You don't want to be half academic or maybe, full academic, but really all empirical economic. But even then, what Porter did was to tell you how to identify which segment to go in.
So,
Yes.
when it comes to stuff like Boston Consulting, McKinsey, and all these guys coming into China,
Yeah, that's interesting. How the game
how
is
do they adapt to that? Because they use all the models, they will use Everything from crossing the chasm to tipping point.
Let's see. It's
A bunch of different
interesting.
executive management tools, but they are classical management tools.
We have to say the game is being played out, right? But BCG is interesting. I used to promote it, but it's so simple to teach. What more do you want? Cartoons to teach portfolio management, right? But I think the world is far more complex than that.
Absolutely. They can simplify like 2 by 2.
But sometimes what is complex need to be simplified. So you get a lot of value from somebody simplifying it. So I thought the BCG one is interesting and useful one. But I use it in my engineering course, but I use water, dead pool already. Certain product what I call some waterfall. So I use different classifications. I use a taxonomy. This is simplify the world for you. Right now, what I suggest is, ultimately, what I'm going to do, right? I say that the best approach for Western MBA formatted mind is to grasp Confucian logic and fuse it with Taoist Sun Tzu philosophy. Now, Tao is very deep meaning, Tao Te Ching, right? But the text you need to learn a Chinese are not a lot. Maybe a few key ones, less than five fingers on your hand. But you can understand this word deeply. Right? Sun Tzu is definitely a Taoist. His philosophy draws on Taoism. Right? But all great studies are all Taoists. The Tao is equated with science. Tao is the one that gave rise to acupuncture, gave rise to the sciences in China. Right? So I think if you combine the two, you're going to be very powerful.